tonight. I have Christine Porter on, a very wonderful friend of mine, long-time friend, I guess you can say, and a very talented and gifted psychic. So I can't wait to see what the hell she's been up to. Welcome to the show, Chris. You've been on here actually a few times in the past.
I have been on your show several times when we were on another network together, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And then you left, and we kind of lost sort of touch.
Yeah, well, the network we were on folded up, and then, I can always go over and do Blog Talk. Blog Talk is my home away from home, and that was fine. But so we didn't really lose touch. We were on Facebook together. I mean, God, that's like, I knew what you were doing. I was watching you.
You're watching me, huh?
I was watching on Facebook. You got some pretty prolific posts there.
I get a lot of weird posts, and that's cool.
A lot of interesting posts.
It's who I am. It's me.
Funny. They make me laugh. I just can't. I can't repeat them.
I guess. It's all good. It's all good. Now, you hosted Kiss Me, I'm Psychic.
I still host Kiss Me, I'm Psychic, and when I'm on Blog Talk Radio. So if you go to Blog Talk Radio, you can find me. I don't have a network home, because I'm kind of not paranormal, but at the same time, I'm not, like, mainstream, so it's a funny little thing that happens.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, it's Blog Talk Radio. I'm not worried about it because I'm not trying to be famous. But I enjoy the heck out of doing the show. I meet a lot of good people, talk about a lot of good stuff, get into some interesting theories, and that's why I do it.
Yeah. Now, I do know your show is not solely based on, obviously paranormal or even being psychic. Sometimes you go into a lot of conspiracy stuff as well.
I do. You know what happened when I was on another network? I said, let me do a couple shows on. I had a little show, like a side show, so to speak, called Conspiracy Corner, and just as like a joke, sort of that tongue in cheek, not really a joke, but I would go and I would present like 10 minutes of like a conspiracy. And let me tell you something, Jason. I started researching it, and it would start out like, oh, this is Conspiracy Corner, and I'm going to talk about this. And when I started to really research what was going on and what people were calling like these crazy conspiracies, I was starting to find out they weren't so crazy. And so I got involved in that way.
Some of them are a bit outrageous. But
yeah, I think that where they get outrageous is that if people think, like some people will say to me, well, the government's trying to kill us. And I'm like, well, if the government was trying to kill us, we'd be dead. I mean, let's just call that what it is.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So what kind of conspiracies do you typically cover, or have you covered?
Well, we've looked into UFOs. I mean, to say we've looked into, I had an experience with a UFO. I almost said UTO. Let me just say UTI, because that's probably the most experience I've had. But the UFOs, I had an experience years and years ago, and I don't even know if I believe in them, and I had an experience. I shouldn't say that because I should not be that close-minded. We look into that, and a lot of the biblical connections between, or a lot of the biblical texts that refer to something that you can, form an opinion on to say that they might be mentioning aliens in the Bible, stuff like that. I get into a lot of the government conspiracy. That interests me because to me, I read for a lot of people, and truly, people who come to me for readings, if they have a lot of money or if they're in politics, they have a different energy. They have a different goal in life, And there's no doubt in my mind that a government or partial government or people of a government could be seeking total power and total control.
Yeah.
I've experienced that.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, politics is all bullshit anyway. It's all,
It is very succinct bullshit. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of people A lot of people believe we live in some kind of democracy, when in reality, if you look around as far as what certain things are going down and what laws and regulations are happening, it's not a democracy at all. You think you're free, you're not free. You're just a puppet. That's all you are. Everyone is. Little tiny puppet, pulled by strings by, a ruler. And a lot of people don't like to look at it as a ruler, but it's true. It's a fucking ruler.
Yeah. As with advertising, advertisers will look at us and they'll say, okay, even if we consciously know that there's shit in our foods, okay, they still have a way. People want to deny. I was brought up with a lot of what you would term satanic cult activity or devil activity. I don't even know what to call it anymore in this world of political correctness. I don't want to offend anybody, but they were into the dark arts. And I remember people believe me, and then all of a sudden it was like, you're crazy, woman. Get away from me. Ha, ha, ha. She's a crazy psychic lady who thinks there's the devil and all that. But if you watch the way that people do things, they're very, very succinct. They do things very specifically, and it's very mental. It's very emotional. They'll say things like, oh, this is all natural, but if you look at the ingredients, it's like, no, it's not. And it's very, very sneaky is what I'm trying to say.
Nothing is natural. I mean, sadly, it's natural when it's, but that's as far as it goes. Once the product gets pulled and brought into whatever the hell it is, whatever the hell they want with it.
Yeah, and it's like ghost hunting, Jay. If you tell somebody you're a ghost hunter, they're like, oh well, you didn't really see a ghost. You didn't really get that. It might be something else. We are brought up. We are trained from day one of our life to deny this stuff. If I go and I read for people, 9 out of 10 people will say to me, "Oh, you're picking up body language," which might be the case, or you're picking up something else, or you're going from the devil, or whatever. So if you think about it, all these things that we do, that if you wonder about it, why would they try to discredit something if it's not true? They make an awful big attempt to discredit things. Like this whole fiasco with Teresa Caputo, who was on TV, and there's a bunch of people who are really, really trying to get her to be, I don't really know what they want her to be. But, it's like if ghost hunting isn't real or psychic mediums aren't real, then why do we threaten you so much? You know what I mean?
I think everybody has a fascination with it. A lot of people are closed-minded, or they don't want to. Another way of saying it, they don't want to be open to it to the public. But a lot of people are fascinated with paranormal. I mean, horror movies are so popular. That's why a lot of the stupid TV shows. And I'm not talking about the ghost hunting ones at all. I'm talking about My Haunted Story or that. I'm talking about
My Haunted Toilet.
Yeah, those particular shows are quite popular because. And they've been popular ever since, the 80s. It's not like a new thing. I mean, those things have been popular for a long time because people like hearing stories like that. They like, whatever the hell it is they like. I have no idea. But they do have that fascination with life after death. And maybe some of it is because, they like knowing that this isn't our only plane of existence. And, sometimes that, just that little bit of comfort knowing that we're going to live on is also a need. But, either way, the fascination of paranormal, of ghosts, of spirits has been there for a long time. Whether or not they willingly admit it or not, people are fascinated with it.
And they always will be. And I try to say, I hope I don't come across something like a snot, but I try to get with people, I meet with people, I say, look, you're just as capable of this as I am, and you're just as gifted as I am. It might not be to the extent that I am, but I can't stand it when I see psychic mediums who, go around and post stuff like, I'm the only one who knows this and all this other stuff. People need to know that they can be empowered. And that can really make their lives a lot better,
Well, I think people also need to learn that they're in control of their own future. And I'm sure you can agree with me from a psychic standpoint.
Amen.
And not predict someone's future 100% accurately. You can't do it. You can tell where someone was, you can tell where someone is, and you can give someone advice based on if you continue down that path, you're going to be fucked up. But you can't accurately predict someone's future because we have free will. We can change our behaviors in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and it also is about control. And I tell people, once they start coming to me and saying, you know, tell me who I should marry, what should I do? I'm like, listen, no. You know, and it becomes very precarious because some of these psychics charge a lot of money. I don't personally, I'm listed in one of the cheapest ones. I shouldn't put it that way, or reasonable, I guess. But, you know, you have to have ethics. You have to say, look, your life is your own. Your choices are your own. Even God gives us free will. We cannot, I mean, certainly God knows what's going to happen, but no, we can say this might happen if you go this path. If you choose this way, this could happen. So it's very specific with how you talk to people and how you treat people.
Yeah, I do know.
I'm on a little mission. I am. I'm on a little mission because I'm getting a little bit more public than I have been, and I got a tentative book deal, which might, you know, they want to make it into a big movie and make it like The Conjuring and all that, but I don't really want that because of what happened to me. I know I'm nuts because, you know, who wouldn't want that? But I would like to show people how I got from being really, really haunted and harassed and just tortured by demonic beings to really and happily living a happy life and fully empowered just because of my gifts.
Yes.
I don't want people to think psychics are bad. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting and I realize that you're sort of breaking up. And I hear you lost. Or Jason, I won't interrupt anymore.
That's all right. That's all right. And you have had a traumatic past. I've heard about it. You know,
who the hell hasn't?
Well, why don't we discuss a little bit about that? Because you had a possession and, you know, you needed to exorcise a demon and so forth. Well, why don't we discuss a little bit about that? Where did that particular event happen, and you know, what steps did you take to try to help yourself?
Well, I'll go a little bit in pathological order, aka chronological. I'm joking, but yeah, what I like to tell people, and I've been doing a lot of radio. I'm going to be on some pretty big radio stations. I'm all nervous, but I'm very happy for the opportunity. And one of the things that happen is when you have children and you're abusive to those children, that's what happened to me. And it's not to cry a river to you, Jay. You know what I'm saying? It's to say that, you know, one of the things that people really kind of need to understand is that our body, mind, and spirit are very, very closely connected. And when something happens to cause suffering spiritually, it can cause physical problems. And when something happens to you physically, it can cause spiritual problems. So in my case, there was so much abuse. There was alcoholism, sexual abuse, physical abuse. I ran away. Literally, by the time I was 11, I had a 10-year-old. By the time I was 11, I was already put into hospitals. There was hospitalization. They never diagnosed me with psychosis or schizophrenia or anything like that. And I've had years of chance for them to discover that, you know? And so what happens is that my aura, or my psyche, I don't really know how to term it, what happens with abuse is that it breaks it down. And your aura gets little holes in it. And so a demonic or negative entity or energy can start to come around. And that's what you ever hear in the Bible it says, where the carcass is, there the vultures gather?
Yes.
That's where I have read that and thought, oh my gosh, that's right. That's exactly what it means. Because I had so much weakness and so much pain and fear that they took advantage of that. And it was an intermittent possession. It started, we had a lot of strange stuff that we grew up, my brother and I, and you know, we would hear voices, we would hear people in the radio, not the radiator, what are they saying on the floor? You know what I'm talking about. Where the heat comes out. I can't think of what you call it. Heat duct.
Yeah.
We had a beautiful painting of Jesus, and it started to, I'm not kidding you, Jason, it started to ooze this stuff. It started to drip this really weird stuff. This was like in the 80s, where the only person you could call was like Ed Warren or Hans Holzer, and they were kind of busy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Different manifestations that were really, really heavy duty, but at the same time that was going on, I was also seeing human spirits and what I hoped and pray still were angelic spirits. But per my gift at the time, the demonic had such a partial control over me, so so my gifts were not to the extent that they could have been. So when in the 80s, I went to see I went to a healing mass with this priest. His name was Father Freddie Alfonso, one of the nicest men I ever met. He passed away in '94. And I still think about him. I asked him to help me. I'm like, if you're up there, I know he's up there. I know he's probably got his reward by now. But he was one of the best people I ever met. When I went to see him at like age 20, what was inside of me really made, so they didn't want to be around him. They felt that their time was being cut short because he was very, very gifted exorcist. He was a very, very gifted healer. As a healer, God's healer, he was also had the gift of exorcism. And so what was around me reacted. It was horrible. It was really horrible. And so after that, I went from literally from 85 until 1991 or 92, I have to look, because I have a certificate. I have a certificate of exorcism. Can you imagine? And I went to try to petition the church for help. There wasn't all the paranormal groups that you have now. There's like 2 or 3. I did get involved with the Warren. Lorraine Warren is a sweetheart. She's a very sweet woman. Ed Warren, you could take him. You could either take him or really not like him. But in the end, he was someone that was on my side, and he saw the absurdity in the fact that the whole Roman Catholic Church was going to him when they should have had their men in order. You know what I'm saying? I'm only going to say that much. I don't want to get into that.
Yes.
And so by the time 91 rolled around, I was given the petitioned exorcism, and the priest that did it, and I won't mention his name. I think he passed away not that long ago. He made me promise I would never reveal who he was, and I just won't do it. So in case anybody wants to know, I won't do it. He left. He stopped it. And I don't know why he did it, and I'd like to sit here and say, geez, I hate his guts for that, but something could have happened to him that I didn't know about. He could have had some attack or something. But after that, I don't know how it died. But it was God's opportunity. It was just life's opportunity, God and Goddess. I believe in a female God as well as a male, to teach me that what I had inside of me, I was able to empower myself through that. It took years, though. It took years. It didn't happen overnight. How was that for pathological order?
That's okay. Now, since that experience, have your psychic abilities been more heightened?
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the strongest episodes of prayer that he gave me, it was like night and day. I still have the abilities. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, forgive me, but I have pretty good ability. My abilities are pretty honed. And I've been using them my whole life. I've never put them on the back burner because I always needed to survive and needed them. But at the time, the release was incredible, and it made so much clarity. And it's just continued to do that, but not just with prayer. What I discovered is that meditation, chakra cleansing, even using tarot cards in a controlled atmosphere, not just screwing around with them, but actually using them to say, okay, God, angels, spirit guides, what do I need to know? I need this for my wisdom to get closer to you or whatever. They will help you. They can help very much. So I learned that the very same thing that people were judging me of were the things that God was saying to me, hey, these are the things that are empowering you.
Yeah, I agree. And I do know that, out of all the psychics that are out there, you're typically the first one I recommend to anyone.
Oh, my God, thank you.
So they ask me, you know any psychics? Yeah, check out this person. She's really good. Tell her you're a friend of mine.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Because, I do know that you're very, very gifted in that, and you are really, really good. And easy to explain yourself. That's the benefit.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I thank you for that, because sometimes I feel like I'm like, do I really explain things well? But I guess that a lot of people say, I have good reviews, too, which really kind of gave me confidence to go forward, because I used to read for people via email, and I'd look at the pictures. They would send me pictures of haunted locations, and they would be like, how do you know that? How do you know? My dog is, like, hacking up or Kimmel or something, so excuse that sound in the back, and I can't imagine what it sounds like. But then I started to go out further and more public, over the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's cool. Now, we might as well get into, being psychic a little bit. Obviously, it's hard to explain exactly how you get it. I don't want to use the term premonition, but I guess you could say it's kind of like that. But how does the information come to you? What kind of images do you see?
Okay, sweetie, do you play music? You're a musician, right?
Yeah.
You play music by ear?
For the most part.
That's how. You don't know how you know the notes, you just know. That's what it's like. That's the best way that I can describe it. It's images. Sometimes when I have people who come to me who've lost a loved one, it's, hi, my name is Donald, and I'm here, and I've died, or I'll see the way that they died, and I'll say to people, he has, for instance, he has a lot of snow around him, and they'll say, oh my God, he died in an avalanche, how good is that? Or not good that he died in an avalanche, but accurate for to see. So things like that. So it's imagery, not voices, because I don't think I would respond well to voices. Very strong thought. But what comes with them, what I've learned over the years, is that there's just a certainty. There's just a specific feeling that comes to me along with the information. So it's visual, almost like a dream state. It's somewhat verbal, as in like words that I hear or hear in my mind, like strong thoughts. I don't hear voices. And that's pretty much it as far as that goes. Very rarely do I say, I don't know what type of psychic I would call myself. I mean, some people say I'm an empath or clairvoyant or clairaudient. I think I just use them all, but I think I'm more clairvoyant. I think it falls on clairvoyant. So it's images and stuff like that, but we all get that. Have you ever met somebody and you're like, oh, I don't like, he just gives me the bad feeling, or he or she gives me a bad feeling? You just have those are psychic abilities.
I like to describe it as the father-in-law effect. You take a couple, and the husband goes to see his wife's family. No matter how much they smile at him, no matter how much they shake their hand, no matter how much how much the case is, you're not welcome there.
Yeah, I kind of got to agree with that one, and that's exactly what it's like. Or if you go on, you just do some of these. Oh my God, you're like the balls investigator I know. When you're in a basement by yourself, you know what's over. You just know. It's just something that you get. And when you go to different locations, you hone them. You hone these abilities. Because most paranormal investigators that I talk to will say to me, Christine, I have that feeling when I go to that cemetery, and I'm like, well, that's being psychic. That's all it is, really. Not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. I think everybody gets those odd, eerie type of feelings, knowing, everybody's gone into somewhere and, even gone somewhere. It doesn't matter if you're an investigator, if you're involved in this sort of thing or not. And, they look at you or you look at someone and you say, dude, how come it feels like there's someone watching me?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and after a while, when you allow it, there's a lot of people in religion have scared us off of that. I mean, for years I battled with, I used to go to church and I used to cry like you wouldn't believe, because I thought that the abilities that I had were devils. And I would think, oh my God, God doesn't want me, he doesn't like me, because I've got all these demons and they're telling me stuff about people. And then it was like, one day it was like God kind of kicked me in the ass and said, excuse me, but seriously, are you going to give that gift over to him or it? Leave these, just let those people believe what they want and realize that I really don't have an evil bone in my body. I don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like it was devilish, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people want to control us, so we become scared of those things. We become scared of our own abilities.
Well, a lot of it comes from religion. When you get back to the 1800s and before, and even some of the early 1900s, if it involves spirits or ghosts and humans, it was devil, regardless of what the case is. That's how the Ouija board got a bad name. That's how psychics got a bad name. That's how parapsychologists at the time got a huge bad name. It's just the way it was. It was, if it involved spirits and humans, it was devil. If you're not talking to ghosts, you're talking to the devil. Well, how the fuck do you know? Do you have any proof it's the devil? No, you don't.
Thank you.
You have the belief structure. That's it.
Yeah. And bring it further, Jay. Can you imagine somebody, like, say that God, I wish, say, just for sake of argument, we transport back to time, and I'm a 21-year-old woman, and here I am going before the church saying, please help me. I'm being tormented. And having them, just the mere fact, the mere option of giving someone an exorcism can really, really make a person feel bad about themselves. I mean, on one token, they're saying to me, well, of course, my dear daughter, you didn't do anything to bring this into your life. And then at the same time, they're standing in front of me with, like, this holy water, burning me with relics, and I'm going home thinking, wow, maybe somebody's trying to tell me something or something here, So I think that we need to approach exorcism and take out the Hollywood fanfare out of it. I think we need to approach people and say, look, if there's a negative energy attached to you, let's figure out why, because you can rip the holy water out, and all you're going to do is hurt the person's soul. You can email me at ChristineGarnett@yahoo.com because I get complaints. I got so many people sending me to hell every day. If you want a dialogue, I'll dialogue with you. We have to approach people with love. We have to approach people with decency and not and understand that they're hurting deep inside. And if something is there, you can't imagine. Most people cannot imagine what it's like to have something there, to have something that's not foreign. And the feeling of evil is just, it's the worst feeling in the world because it's not just hate and anger, it's the despair, And you're sitting there and you're like, oh, this terrible despair. There's no hope. They have absolutely not one iota of hope. There's nothing they're going to turn to. And this is eternal for them. Eternal. And it's just, you feel like you're going to go right to hell. You feel like you're in hell anyway. So it's just something that is very dear. It's dear to me because it hurt me. People hurt me. They didn't mean it. I'm not unforgiving towards them. I get that they have problems and they had attacks and whatnot. But I look around now and I look at Facebook and it's like every other person is a demonologist and everybody's talking about they want to go and help somebody with an inhuman case. And I have people call me up, and I'm sure you do as well. When they're in tears, they're like, oh my God, this person was supposed to help me. And they have serious activity. It's something that, and I include phony psychics. I include psychics if they might have a hair of intuitive ability, and then they want to charge somebody $500 to remove a curse or some stuff. It needs to change. It really needs to change.
It is crazy. I think the media, and I say media because it's not just TV. It's also social networking and so forth and so on has completely destroyed the paranormal community, and it's done it in many ways, and that's a prime example of it. People charging outrageous amounts of money. There are some pretty good psychics out there. Some that I would recommend you're one of them, and then there's a lot of bullshit psychics out there that they promote themselves, and then you go ahead and message them and say, hey, I need a reading, can you give me one? Here's my money. And you give them something stupid and say, okay, fine, and that's it. And the same thing when it comes to, paranormal things. There are some good ones out there, and there's a lot of shitty ones. And everyone's taking classes to do this and taking classes to do that, and so forth and so on. And demonology happens to be one of them. People are learning from people who are inexperienced. And basically, in my honest opinion, and I'm sorry to say, but people get into something like demonology and they learn the Catholic ways, and that's about it. And I'm sorry to tell people, but it's a lot more bigger than just your one note religion. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to learn demonology, there are thousands of different religious beliefs out there, and every one of them has their own sort of, demonic type of entities that are out there that you have to learn them all, and you're not going to do it overnight. You're not going to do it in a 6-month course. You're not going to do it in a 1-week course. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, it's not. So if you're to be a demonologist, it's going to take many, many, many years to learn all of that information.
Yeah, I agree. I can't agree more. And also experiences. I mean, I have seen people levitate. I myself levitated. It is not fun. It's not something. I saw people part like the Red Sea. I was sitting next to a woman. Fortunately, the one time that I did see that was not me. This was with a service with a priest who was very, very gifted. And she was sitting there, and this woman, I kid you not, Jay, she went up in the air, about 4 feet up in the air, and went about 3 feet across, landed right next to me, and I was like, holy shit, that was cool. That was my stupidity. I was in awestruck. It wasn't that I thought it was, like, nice, but it was just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I was like, oh, that's what that looks like, you know? But at least it wasn't me. And literally, all the people, like 90% of the people in that service, they parted like the Red Sea. They all ran out and ran down the stairs, and they were like, get me the hell out of here. And I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
How are you going to, you know, they go to places like that place that they go to I'm not going to mention names, place where there's known demonic entities. And they're like, oh, come on out. Oh, my God. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
They have no idea. I know I feel self-righteous, but...
Another thing that people really seriously have to understand and know and respect, they have to respect the fact that they could be wrong. You know me you know that I'm not big on demons. I don't think they exist, but I respect the fact and understand that I could be wrong.
It could be something. It could be something else. It could be angry human spirits that we're dealing with. We don't know.
It could be. It very much well could be. But, you know, again, it's like I said, I respect the fact that I could be wrong. And I understand that. And I have studied up on some demonology. I'm not a demonologist, I'll be the first to tell you, but I have studied a little bit of it, so if I am presented with a case like that I'm not comfortable with, then yeah, I go ahead and make arrangements and call people who are going to be a bit more professional than what I would be.
Well, yeah, but also you have to, if I was to go in with you and I was going to call it demonic and you were going to call it something else, I wouldn't start arguing with you. I would say, Jay, you go ahead and you deal with it the way you deal with it, and I'll deal with it the way that I do. It shouldn't be up for argument with anybody. It should not be.
No, it shouldn't be. Well, you also know me well enough to know that I take safety extremely seriously, and if someone's not comfortable with a particular location, you know as well as I do, I will kick them the fuck out quickly.
I've witnessed that firsthand.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the way I am. I'm not going to put anyone in any kind of risk or danger because of, you know, what I think or what I believe. It's not going to happen. Why? Because I know I could be wrong. I could be. And if someone's going to get hurt because of my irresponsibility, it's going to be me, no one else.
Yeah, that's very good because you have a little bit of ethics there.
Yeah. Why don't we cut to our very first commercial break? I think Denny's still on, or near one of the two. They bounce back and forth sometimes. But why don't we cut to our first commercial break, Denny? And when we come back, we will discuss more. welcome back to Ghost Chat Radio. I am your host, the Paranormal Rebel, Jason Stanton. A couple things I will encourage everyone to go ahead and check out before we continue on with this discussion. You want to go to Amazon for one. You want to type in Unrested Peace, and a book will come up that I wrote, and definitely want to purchase that because it's an awesome, awesome book. It's got a lot of awesome reviews, and I'm sure you will love it. But hey, Ted, I know you can't hear me or you don't want to hear me because you're a producer, but what days that event we're doing? I think it's the 20th.
It is, and first of all, let me just say, if you go to www.dtmwickedradio.com and click on the Amazon link, they can type in Unrested Peace through that and find it through that, because Amazon is an affiliate of DTM Wicked Radio. And our event is July 26th from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Tickets are on sale right now. You can go to www.dtmwickedradio.com to purchase your tickets. And if you purchase them before July 15th, you can get an early bird deal.
And that's going to be an awesome event for us. That's got a historical tour, it's got an investigation, and it's multiple buildings. It's not even like one building. So,
nope, and plus, you're going to speak, and so am I.
Yes, hopefully I'm going to speak. I have no idea if I'm going to make it. Right now, I plan on making it, but waiting on something, and it may change that. But
that's totally awesome. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just don't want to get people's hopes up saying, oh, right, the Paranormal Rebel's going to be there, and then all of a sudden I cancel, and you know. But as far as I know, I'm going to be there. Like I said, something may come up, and I might not be able to make it. However, for the most part, as far as I know now, I will be there. And yeah, we have multiple buildings, so there's not going to be so much outside contamination from one group to another, and it's going to be well done, and you know, there's a nice historical tour you're going to get during the day, and it's going to be a fantastic time and a great way to spend a nice Saturday night. And those tickets are only $55.
Well,
the special is $50.
Yep,
so,
the special is $50, and that's before July 15th. So you got to get your ticket before July 15th to get the early bird deal, and that includes everything. You know, each ticket price includes everything. So you're not going to want to, you know, that'll include the tour, the investigation, whatever else in between. So that'll be a lot of fun. And it's, again, July 26th from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Hopefully the Paranormal Rebel will be there. I know I'll be there, your favorite wicked wild child. So don't miss out.
It'll be a lot of fun. And that's in Palmyra, New York, everyone. So if you're upstate New York and you want to attend, you definitely want to attend. I'm not going to lie. And another event is September 20th. That one's on the 20th. I got so much shit going on, I can't even keep track of it all. Seriously, that's the Alvin Sanatorium event. That's a total, full-blown benefit. It's completely nonprofit. I'm not taking home anything. I'm doing this out of the courtesy of my own heart. And basically what it is just a benefit to help restore the building. How do you know we're serious? Well, quite simple. You don't have to pay us. Get yourself a $50 gift card from Lowe's or Home Depot, which is only good for Lowe's or Home Depot, so the owner has no choice but to buy building products with it. So that's all you need to attend this event. And it's an awesome sanatorium. I've investigated it once already. I will probably be down there hopefully in the next month or so to actually donate some of my time, not as the Paranormal Rebel, but as Jason Stanton, the carpenter, to do some work inside of the building. So, if I can travel 9 hours out of my freaking way to help somebody out, everyone, I'm sure you can at least deep in your pocket and get a $50 gift card and travel an hour out of your life. So go ahead and do it. So, please do that, because that's an awesome thing to do. She wants to turn into a museum and a library for psychiatric, care throughout the history, and it's just a great way to help the community in the best that they can. So I have that going on. Now, we still have Christine Corda on the line, so we want to get back to her. And that's enough for Yeah, that's pretty much well enough for the advertisement for myself for now. But welcome back to the show, Chris.
Thank you.
Got a lot going on.
So where's this you're going? I was just getting back and I didn't hear the location. Up in New York, Virginia.
The one in next month on the 26th is upstate New York.
Okay.
That's with 3 buildings. That's in Palmyra, New York. We get 3 buildings. You get a historical tour. You get, the investigation at night. The investigation, I'm hoping, is going to run from, 9 o'clock to 1 a.m. So, I mean, it's going to be a pretty good investigation. And we have multiple buildings, which means there's not going to be so much contamination from, one group to another. Obviously, I'm going to split everyone up into, smaller groups so that, no one's walking around like a damn Nazi, because that's just, everyone will be split up into groups. Everyone will get a certain building. A group will get a certain building to, wreak havoc in, and after a period of time, we'll switch, and everyone can go into another building and wreak havoc in that one to gather as much evidence as you can. There's a lot of historical significance within these particular buildings, so, and apparently they do have a lot of cool activity in there. I mean, some people have heard voices and, apparitions they've seen, pretty frequently as well, so, and it's not something that's been done by TV, overly done by TV either. So, I mean, it raises your chances, in my honest opinion, for collecting as much evidence as you can for that night. So, that's that one.
Awesome. I wish I had better transportation. I have terrible transportation. I would go to a lot of these. I mean, that would be so great to be able to help to get them, to fix up the building and whatnot. I would love to do that.
Yeah, the one that we're fixing the building is in Virginia. That's that what I've heard.
Yeah, that's the one I thought you were talking. That's what I thought you were talking about.
That's in September. That one is a whole sanatorium. It's a great place. I've investigated it once already. It's a lot of cool activity in there that I've witnessed and that I've captured. So I mean, it's just a wonderful place, and like I said, we're just helping to restore the building for that. I'm not making any money off of it. Like I said, you can pay. I think we're charging $75 for a ticket. But you can go to Home Depot and get a $50 gift card from Home Depot or Lowe's to go to that particular event.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm charging $75 for a head ticket because I'm encouraging people to just go ahead and get the gift cards.
Oh, that's nice.
So,
so yeah, it's an asylum, huh?
It is. It's an asylum, and you know how I like asylums. I
know. I kind of shy away from them myself.
They're hard to pass up. And the reason why I like asylums is because the energy that's in them, and I'm sure you can agree being psychic, the energy that's in these particular locations is so diverse. If you go into a prison, there's a good chance you're going to deal with an asshole, and that's it. And if you go into someone's house, you're just going to get a regular person, and so forth and so on. But if you go into an asylum, I mean, you've got people in there that were mentally unstable. You got people in there that were dropped off, in the early 1900s because, they had some minor disability such as blindness or hearing loss, and the parents didn't want to deal with them. You've got, you're obviously, the mentally insane, and even that's diverse between bipolar disorder to, depression to schizophrenia and so forth and so on. You have all that, then you have the criminally insane. So, I mean, the energy is just so broad in these particular locations that you're bound to capture something.
Which it's a good point too. That's a really good point. Because a lot of times I think that people think like we were saying before, people will think if they go into an asylum that the energy there is demonic, when actually it could just be people who are still, God help them, in torment.
Yeah, and that's another thing that people don't understand. For some odd reason, they'll say it, they'll act like they believe it, but when you talk to them, it's like, dude, you don't believe what you're saying at all. But they seem to think that, that people change after they die. No, that's not true.
Oh, no, they do not change, no. No, you are right, and that's totally right. I totally agree with that 100%.
Yeah. It's crazy, but it is what it is. I mean, you're going to get your asshole ghosts, and that's about it. That's why when you hear about all these demonic cases anymore, because something, let's say a table gets tipped upside down, or some kind of picture gets thrown off the wall, or whatever the case. It's got to be demonic. God damn it! It was up to protect me. No, Jeffrey Dahmer probably would have thrown that picture at your fucking head, you idiot.
Oh, yeah.
Even.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. It's yeah, and it's very, very difficult to make the distinction. And I think that's a problem. I've known that to be a problem in different paranormal investigations. When we go out here, we just we stay. There's only a few of us that go, and I'm the psychic one that does the psychic notes, and they do all the technical stuff. Because if you get into the belief systems, you're going to end up. People are going to get a hair across the belief system.
You definitely got to separate a belief system with paranormal investigating, because you don't know what is what. If you go into most belief systems, most religions, they think that any ghost on this plane of existence is a demon, and there is no evidence at all out there to suggest that either way. There's none. Most of the times when people go out investigating, even the religious thing, freaks you think that, everything here is a demon, don't present evidence of demonic, anything demonic. So, I mean, you got to seriously divide up between religion and investigating.
Yeah, well, the thing that bothers me is when people become so obsessed. When I really began to believe in God and my spiritual guides and all that, I really didn't want to hear about the negative anymore. I really didn't. I started to understand, one of the greatest things that happened in my life, Jay, was that I started to understand the goodness that could come to me through the darkness, through the horrible times, through the abuse and stuff like that. Not saying it was wonderful and I wish it on everybody, but it became a point where you start to see things a little bit different. You start to sort of shift your eyes, like when you're bird watching in the woods and you want to see a specific bird, you just got to switch your eyes. You got to change your vision a little bit. And when people get all caught up into religion, it becomes a pee-pee match. That's as crude as I'm going to get. It's a pee-pee match. So after a while, we've got to stop, because there's a lot of people who need help.
And there is a lot of people who need help, and not needless to say. I mean, I know you have that little bit of dignity when it comes to people's feelings. You don't want to hurt them, but I try not to hurt them. But needless to say, I really don't care. I mean, it's my opinion, it's my thought process. So, I mean, if you're offended by my opinion and my theories, I don't know what to tell you. I'll send you a box of tissues. I just don't know what I can say. I mean, I don't know other people's theories or thought processes. I mean, I don't expect anyone to get offended by any of mine. It's just a theory. It's an idea.
Yeah, and I know. I have a couple of my interviews that are on YouTube, and I get email after email, and it's like, dude, what? I'm not. I don't want to bash anybody, but I have some issues with organized religion. But it's like they go in and they just make it their mission to save me from all of this, and they have to save me. And I don't get that. I really have never gotten that. It just becomes such a strange thing. It's like they don't want to be good and holy. They just want to be right,
Yeah, and you got to ask yourself, what is right? There is no answer to that.
That's like a huge, that's a huge discussion I have with my kids. It's like a huge discussion I have with my kids, because they're sort of at that age where they want to have a religion, but then it's like, how come this religion hates gays? Or how come, we don't hate gays, we love them? No, that's pretty sure it's hate, And they kind of look around and they're like, wow. I tell them they have to find out for themselves, Can't force anybody either way. But how many places have you run up against that you feel might have been potentially evil or demonic, if even not evil?
Yeah. You gotta. You have to take everything into consideration. As far as the gays, a lot of people. They don't like to admit that they hate gays, but they hate gays. You can tell by what the hell they say about them. Keep this in mind. the reason why we won the Revolutionary War wasn't because of George Washington. Well, he did have a major part of it, but he wasn't the only reason. We hired a gay guy to help, train these troops that we had, and he played a major role in the Revolutionary War, and part of the reason why we won that was because of a homosexual.
Yeah. It's sad, but it's true.
It is. I mean, consider that. Personally, I just look at all the gay rock legends and say, dude, you kick ass.
There you go. You have to. And you have to watch children, because children just accept everyone. Children do not care what a person is or isn't.
Yeah.
They just love people because they love them,
Yeah, it's all taught. It's all embedded into our head throughout, our upbringing and most of it's between the ages of 12 and 16. Those are the critical years. Those are the years where kids pay attention to you a little bit more than you'd think, because, they don't want nothing to do with you at that age, but they do pay attention to what you do and how you do it. And
they really do.
That's where that innocence of a child leaves between those particular ages.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. And if they see that, they'll just form opinions based on your actions, and then they just don't even. That's what happens. It just perpetuates itself over the years, and it's time. It's kind of time to stop it. I mean, we're in 2014, for crying out loud.
I know. People will never grow the fuck up, though. Sadly, but it's true. Now, we might as well go into a discussion that is a bit controversial amongst paranormal teams, because let's just face it, paranormal teams like to make everything controversial, no matter what the case is. But working with psychics and a basic investigator. I've worked with you never in person. I've worked with you over the phone.
No. I thought I heard somebody else talking.
Oh, yeah, someone asked me for my phone.
Yeah, that's what you're right about now. No, I mean, years ago when I started to come out a little bit out of a proverbial psychic closet, there was a lot. There was a lot of things that were kind of forced down in my face. You shouldn't be on here. And they wouldn't even put me on. There was something that used to have your websites on, the web ring or something. And they wouldn't even. There was a site that said they would not put my website next file, because we used to have the New England Sensitives for Paranormal Research and whatever it was, I don't even know. And they wouldn't put my website on their web ring, because they said they don't work with psychics because we're not scientific. And I look and I wrote back to the woman, I said, you're not scientific, but you have someone who's going to sell you a pet demon on his website. You have them on your web ring, but you're not going to put me on. So back then, that was like 2004, 2003, something like that. So it was a while ago now. But lately I've noticed... I'm sorry?
I'd like to ask these people who said that to you, define scientific in this field. Is it the experimental gadgets that we walk around with? Is it all the theories that nobody seems to try to prove? Is that scientific?
You know what? I basically in so many words said that to the woman. I was like, but hosting like a web page that sells you pet demons is scientific. To tell you what, I mean, it was just like, okay, I don't want to be in your web ring. It was so things like that used to happen, but not so much anymore. Really, I find that unless I'm just not coming across it.
Yeah.
I mean, I went on the show Everything Paranormal with on your station here, and they were awesome. They were so nice, and they were like, they were talking about using psychics on there. They were talking about their own psychic abilities, and it was awesome. I've never come across directly to me on a show or anything like that where people would say, you shouldn't be on an investigation. But on the same token, Jay, if somebody said to me, come to this location and investigate it solely as a psychic, I would say, no, I can't do that. Because as a psychic, just as a psychic empath, my emotions are there. And if I pick up on somebody's energy, and especially in like a sanatorium or whatever you're going to there, just for instance, I have to be careful that my own emotions don't taint what's coming out in EVP or in any type of other technical. I like the technical readings. I like the EMF readings and other things that they do that I really should know more about, but don't. Those instruments you all bring.
Yeah.
That's how I like to do my investigation. If I go with you, I'll say, Jay, you bring your tools, and I will sit here and I will tell you this is what I feel, this is where it is, but I would never, as a psychic medium, ever go off and lead or solely do an investigation based on my psychic feelings. It wouldn't be right.
Yeah. And that's basically when I dealt with you over the phone being psychic during an investigation. That's how I worked it. I used you as a type of tool, I guess you could say. It's harsh to say that, but I said, hey, if you feel any kind of emotions or any kind of visions in a specific area, please let me know, and I'll try to get it documented as the best that I can, and hopefully we can get something out of it. And
that's very, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say, but yeah, I was using you as a tool. But I mean, I can also relate with some of the psychics that don't want to. They prefer to go off on themselves. They prefer to do what they got to do, but they also have to understand. I can't go to a client after an investigation and say, well, my psychic said this dude is here, so you got to be there. I can't do that.
No, they really shouldn't be allowed to do that either, because especially in the case when you have a client, you have to just turn over every stone. You have to do it.
You have to do whatever you can to get the specific details and the facts of what's going on in that location to help them the best that they can, or lead them to the help that they need.
Yeah, true. It's true. Yeah, because they have to deal with it. That would be like, they would have to deal with that, and the ramifications of that are just tremendous.
Yeah.
But to use them to say, if I go out with a team, and it's specifically for a client, I would say no, just make sure you have a psychologist, even if you have to have a psychologist, or make sure they have some counseling going on or whatever, just to make sure that everything is settled. But if something is like at an event or something, that's different. Then you're perfectly. I would be fine. I would want you there with me, because I would say to like Dale or something, I'll say, look, I'm feeling this. Go over and research it and see if I'm wrong, because I don't want to think misinformation to somebody, just based on my emotions or whatever. So if somebody can debunk, if you will, I hate that word, my psychic feelings, I want them to do it, because I don't want to lead anybody astray. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You got to put your priorities in order. And if the psychic is going in saying, "Look at how good I am," he or she's not going to want to hear your advice or your thoughts. You're just going to want to toot their own horn, and so you got to go off with somebody else. There's a lot of good and decent psychics. Like you said, there's a lot of good and decent psychics to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, and I agree 100%. Now, what do you think? I'm sure you've gone into something through, or just unexpectedly, or expectedly. Who it doesn't really matter.
I think that one of the worst was, and I almost got physically sick. There was a place in Seymour, Connecticut, and it was called the Carousel Gardens, and we were there, and I was trying to get people together, just to get together, because when I'm psychic, when I want to use my psychic abilities, it's nice to have people together, sort of like to support each other, to do a developmental circle and whatnot. And we went upstairs in the attic, and there was a bunch of people up there that I saw. Now I saw them; it was no question in my mind. But there was one that I saw who was a child. There was a child, and then there was the mother. And they were not with each other. And somebody ran through and was running around. And it doesn't even sound like it's that bad. I mean, it sounds like, well, so what? But somebody ran through and was like, "Where's the ghost? Where's the ghost?" And they were, ha, 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 and it was funny and everything. And I just remember the image that I had I didn't see physical. We got a lot of pretty good, I wouldn't like to say evidence, but we got some pretty good data from that night. And I just remember the image that I had in my mind of this little kid, this little girl, looking for her mother. You know, you hear about that and you think, nah, it's probably not true, it's probably a little wild stuff. I just remember I just burst into tears. I couldn't fathom that this kid was like for over 100 years, like 120 years or something, 150 years, was just wandering around in that place. And it really, really upset me, and I had to go in the car, I just bawled my eyes out. It was embarrassing. But I got so mad. I really got mad, and I was like, who the hell do these people think they are? And then it was like, well, you know, they don't see it the way you do, and they don't understand it. It was like, well, you got to put a human face on it at some point. You have to put a human face on it. So that was one of the most, probably one of the most hurt that I think I probably picked up maybe on the hurt that they were feeling. I don't know. I really don't know how to express it, but it really bothered me a lot. One time when I was living in a place that was very, very, let's just say negative entity, and I remember I would wake up I had dyslexic demons, you know what I'm saying? They never woke me up at 3 a.m. They would wait until 5 after. And it was 5 after 3 in the morning, and I used to see the shadow in my closet. Can you imagine? It sounds like, oh my God, that's those ghost stories you read about. But seriously, I had one door missing off the closet, and the other door was just sort of there. It was one of those doors that slide on the thing, but the one door was missing. And I would look up, I would wake up and look up and see the form would just like slowly go behind the other door. And I would be frozen in fear. And I would look over at the clock, and the clock would be 5 after, and then the clock, it was like every other night it would happen for like a couple months, and the clock would go backwards. The hands would start literally start going backwards.
Right.
And it was not a digital clock. It was like one of those remember the old ones that we used to actually wind and leave them up? And it would just start going back, scared the crap out of me. I don't know why. I don't know what it was about that scared me. It was like, I don't know. I never understood. It wasn't, I've seen extreme things. That wasn't the most extreme I've seen. And I've seen people levitate. I've heard people who have voices come out of their mouth that you're sitting there thinking, there's no way that's not them. You know when you're in the presence of it. But that, for some reason, that really, really, really scared me. It really, really scared me. One time we were working with this guy who was, he had some type of issue, and we were praying for him and talking to him, trying to help him, and I literally, oh my God, I looked at his back, and underneath his shirt, it was like something was crawling, like something about the size of a rat was crawling. You could see the form of it through the shirt, through the sweater. And he was like, something's hurting my back. He was almost screaming. He was like, something's hurting my back. And I think it was he wasn't a priest yet. He was almost a priest. And he pulled the shirt up, and there was nothing there. And we all saw that something was actually crawling up his shirt on the inside. And he had scratch marks and like a burn, almost like a burn on his back. I don't know whatever happened to him. That was just like, wow. Okay, you leave feeling like, did I just do that? Thank you, God, that I'm not dead. Thank you, God, that I'm not dead, you know?
Yeah.
So those are the ones that I can think of.
I've never been, attacked by anything. I wouldn't mind getting attacked at least once. I mean, not too intense, but just, at least perhaps. I want to witness that personally, firsthand, but
I got slapped in the ass once, and it wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? It was like, hey, you noticed. You know what I mean? You noticed. I'm joking. Come on, I'm joking.
That's all right. A little pop on the behind doesn't matter anyway. That's all right. But, it's never happened to me yet. And it might be because of my friendly personality. I guess, I can get along with most people, so why not get along with most dead people? I don't know.
You know what? Dale's going to kill me, but they don't like Dale. There's a lot of people that we used to go to the Yankee Pepper Inn out in Torrington and Connecticut, and I used to have to walk away from him because there was this one guy who used to follow him around. He just didn't like him at all. Did not like him. And it's a personality thing. I'm sorry?
That happens, and I agree. It could be a personality thing. I think, certain entities are going to be attracted to certain people. And it's like that in life as well. I mean, certain people, you're going to hang out with certain people as opposed to other certain people. It's not, not because, Ghost is selective. It's just, some people are assholes. Bottom line.
It's the bottom line.
Yeah.
But let me reiterate, when you get around something that you know, and I'm not going to say demon, but I will say you know that it's not human. What it is, we can't categorize. I mean, we can call it a demon because that's what we use. We use words in this world,
Yeah.
But whether it's an alien being or something that used to live under the earth, who the hell knows, right? Nobody has the truth of everything.
Yeah.
You will know. People know when you're in the company about it because it's horrible. It's horrible. You just can't mistake it. It's just a terrible feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been in some places that were definitely uneasy. I mean, the farmhouse that I investigated.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That is, you go into that place, you definitely do get an uneasy feeling at times. And I've been in that farmhouse many, many, many times. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes you can sleep in there, but, you get in there sometimes, much like when, when I investigated and you were on the phone helping me, it was definitely an uneasy feeling that particular night. And God, it was, just so, I don't know what's in that place, but it's definitely like I guess you could say a psychiatric hospital because it's really diverse in that particular location.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those poor people. I mean, not only did they have, probably had things like PMS, that now you take a Motrin and you're fine, and then they would put them they would send them away, and God knows what the doctors and stuff would do to the poor girls, Yeah. So there's so many different energies running around there. I mean, those poor souls, you can't say a nice little thought, say something nice to them, say, I'll pray for you and I'll ask the angels to come and help you. And you don't want to force them. You don't want to scare anybody or hurt anybody, living or deceased. And that's good. But you can't just call them demonic because then, after a while they might think that they are, and then, they might invite something that wasn't there before, just from the sake of you saying something. Not you, but somebody saying something to them.
Yeah.
I almost killed myself like 3 times because of what the Catholic Church, the way that the people, not the Catholic Church, but the way that the people that I was working with dealt with me and how bad they made me feel.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if I followed through and here I was haunting the wherever I was at the time and trying to say to people, look, after a while when you treat somebody so badly, they start to respond and they can start to believe it themselves, and we don't want to do that, right?
No, we don't, and sometimes that's a big issue, actually, even now with the paranormal community. A lot of people are going around harassing people and, saying stupid things, and, they're attacking one another, and it's turned into a schoolyard playground.
Oh, my God, I see it, and I'm like, just please, I don't even want to be bothered, and it's like, don't you have anything better to do? Everybody wants to be Harry Houdini, okay? Everybody wants to be Houdini, pulling the parlor tricks and exposing the parlor tricks. I'm all for that. I really am. But you know what, Jay? Why is it such a problem for people if I prosper from my gifts? I mean, I live, and I do not live. I'm not a rich woman. I can barely get around the car I have. If I charge somebody $50, $60, or $100 to read for them, I do follow-ups constantly. I text my clients. I mean, people can go read my reviews. So why do people always give me that, you shouldn't prosper, you shouldn't charge? What should I wait for God to come out of the sky in a bush and give me milk for my kids? Because that's what it comes down to. And the same token with, I see a lot of it with the ghost hunters should not be paid. Why not? They're doing something that's their gift. I don't care if it's a hobby or not. If you do something, Jason, and I call you over and say, here's my event, I want you to speak here, I want you to run an investigation, why should you not be paid for that? I don't get it.
I do accept donations.
You should. You should.
Donations, but equipment does cost a lot of money. Yeah, you do have to change out memory cards all the time, and
exactly.
I mean, I got an 8-cylinder truck. It costs me. I work literally 5 miles away right now, and it literally costs me $70 a week just to get me to work.
Oh,
so I mean,
God.
Could you imagine? You know, like I got called in to do a investigation down in Jersey, Egg Harbor, wasn't it? And that is, you know, a 3-hour drive. It seems a 2 to 3 hour drive, 2.5 hours, something like that.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. It's not even that.
I didn't charge for it. I didn't ask for any compensation, but, you know, they were nice enough to hook me up with, I mean, they didn't give me any money, but they had an old monitor that they didn't want. So, you know, they said, hey, you want it? I said, sure, I'll take it, no problem. And that's cool because, you know, it shows a little appreciation, and it's something else that I can add to the list of things that I have. I did an investigation once in Woodsboro, which isn't that often either. And you know, after we were done, the lady was thankful, and her dad was into the security business, and she had a 16-track DVR sitting downstairs that she had no use for, so she gave it to me. She gave it to me. So I said, "Cool, man, I'll take it, and I'll put that in my arsenal of stuff." You know, so I mean.
Yeah.
As far as accepting donations, yeah, I'll accept a donation, but I won't flat out tell someone they have to give me a donation. I won't tell someone this is how much it's going to cost. I don't do that, but I'll accept a donation if offered.
Yeah, but I think that, you know, also, like, if somebody can't pay me, I say, look, always work something out. Whether they want to knit an Afghan for me, or they trade me with something like they read for me when I need it, or they give my kid a ride to the school or down to the Y to swim. That's what you can do. That's really good. But I mean, as far as like, if you ever get on TV or you ever get on, like, do a documentary or whatever, I don't understand the whole uproar over people being paid. You know, we're not clergy. We don't have people coming in and supporting us. You know, if I ever read for every person that I read for nothing, I wouldn't be able to live. I wouldn't be able to live.
The bottom line is a lot of things, it comes out of jealousy in all reality when it comes to things like that. Yes, if you're on a TV show, you should be getting paid. If you're being, and that's not really paranormal investigating, that's entertainment purposes.
Exactly, yeah.
And you have to accept that. As an entertainer, you have to get paid. You know, when I do events, you know, for example, going down to Virginia, the last one that I did, I'm not doing it the next time I go to Virginia. But the last one I did, yes, my expenses were paid for me. It has nothing to do with it, but, I mean, people got to keep in mind, I mean, take that particular event. That cost me, that trip cost me $800 to go there and back. You know what I mean? Just between gas, food, you know, making sure I had a place to stay, so forth and so on. I don't have the funds to pull out of my butt and do these. I don't have it. I work just like everybody else, you know what I mean? I get a shitty paycheck. I have, you know, a mortgage. I've got cars I got to maintain. I've got kids that have to eat. I've got, you know, heat that I have to make sure is in the house, so forth and so on. So, I mean, if someone's hiring me to be an entertainer, then yeah, I will. Now, the jealousy thing that comes in from other people is because everybody in the paranormal community, everybody, I don't give a fuck who you are or how honest you believe, every fucking body would love to get a paycheck doing this. Everybody.
Oh, God, of course, of course.
If they can quit their job and say, I'm a paranormal investigator by trade or by skill or by income, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Amen. I would too. I would not lie. I say, yes, you bet your ass, I'll be right there.
And that's where the currency thing comes in. They see, you know, people on TV doing it, they're like, oh, they're sellouts because they get paid. Fuck you, guy. You do it too if you
I know. You put the word. I won't say that because I'm too genteel lately. But yep, that's what I totally agree. And that's what happens when they start attacking them. It's like, I can't do it, so I'm gonna ruin it for you because they're mad because they think they're better. And it's like, oh, I don't even want to hear it. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from these people. It's what do you call it? Sour grapes. That's what they have.
Yeah. Now, do I agree with some of the TV shows out there? Absolutely not. I think they're all bullshit. But I would like to see a more educational TV show. I would like to see that. See a more, diverse type of TV show. I think that would be a lot better. TV shows, yes, I know they fake evidence. I wouldn't mind them faking evidence if there was some kind of educational purpose for it. If they had a series to explain to their viewers, this is what we think we're seeing, this is why we think it's here, then fine, fake all the fucking evidence you want, but don't fake evidence for the ratings. That's wrong.
Well, yeah, but also you have to understand that their performance, if you will, I don't even want to call it that, but their performance, like if you look at Teresa Caputo, she doesn't do what she does just to provide for her family. She does that.
There's a big article on her not that long ago.
I know.
I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently she got busted being a fake. Apparently.
No, it's actually not. What they did, because I looked into it, because I really like her. I genuinely like her. They doctored a video, a couple of videos on it, and they said this is what she's doing. Now, their claims were pretty much baseless. What you had, because I read into it, because I don't like to hear about that at all. But to me, she just feels genuine. She just feels genuine. People get sour grapes. If people come to me and I don't tell them exactly what they want to hear, some people will literally, they will go all over the internet and they will just badmouth me.
Yeah.
And they'll come to me and I'll say, look, I don't want to take your money. If you're not happy, please leave. I do not want to take your money. That's not what I'm about. And they'll still go and they'll say, oh, she charges and she sucks and all this other stuff. So you got to be real careful. We have to be careful what we believe, what people are saying. Because I think that people forget that psychics don't get everything. We don't pick up everything. We're human. And, also she's got, managers and publicists and everybody else that, they could be saying, go out, do this, go out this. And she's like, geez, I'm tired. Well, tough. It's too bad. She's got to be bringing in a lot of money for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sure she is. Yeah. I mean, I read that. I wasn't sure if it's true or not, but...
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it could be. I haven't made my conclusion yet, because I'm going to read it and watch and see what's going on, because it could be. But so far, what I've read, it's very, very sketchy. Very sketchy.
I don't know. I do know there are a lot of different internet, I guess you can say, news sites that are out there based on the paranormal. But, much like the National Enquirer, it's all bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, have you seen lately how they just, so-and-so did this and he was arrested for that, and then there's this whole, people have lost their jobs because they've posted stuff on Facebook. It's become a culture of we're not even going to try you in the court of law, we're just going to consider you guilty, and there you go.
Yeah. And that's stupid.
It's kind of stupid, yeah.
Oh, BS. And they don't have any facts based on anything that they're talking about. For example, take DTM, for example. DTM has had, a particular person, who has badmouthed them at one time. Not once did they ever try to contact and find out the facts. Not once has anyone tried to contact to find out, any kind of accusations or any, have any basis for it at all. They just go ahead and say things like that. Andrea Perron, lovely woman. I love her to death. She's a wonderful, wonderful human being. She's now getting badmouthed by some people. And again, not once has she been called and got interviewed. Not once has she, done anything negative. Not once has, anyone even tried to get the facts out of her. It hasn't happened. So what are they basing their information on?
Hearsay.
Hearsay, that's it. That's all it is.
Well, you know what has to happen, and I pray that in these cases that a lawyer will step forward and say, look, you're playing with fire, because I don't like that. I get really mad. People can email me and cast me into hell with their little pictures of their little bunnies and squirrels. I don't care. If you start calling me a liar, oh man, that's going to be something I will go without just to pay a lawyer to get up here. You know what I'm saying? Because that's that you're not only I don't know her, but what can I say? She comes across as a very sweet woman. She wrote the book, right? She wrote that book, The Conjuring, or it wasn't The Conjuring, Darkness into. I don't remember. But I'm sorry about that. I wanted to give you a report, and I can't remember. You know why they're doing it? Because they're just jealous. They're jealous. They don't want to see success from that.
No, people don't. I mean, that's the problem. And it's all, it's jealousy. No one wants. It's because they're getting a paycheck doing what they love, as opposed to them. You know, and that's what they're hurtful.
They don't look at the bigger picture. If they start bashing her, and somebody could really possibly potentially get help by reading her book or talking to her, they're going to not only block. I mean, that's a whole bunch of stuff that I don't even. They don't understand They don't understand how far that can reach. You know, they don't understand how far that can reach. They could stop somebody from really getting help. And then when they die, what are they going to present to God? Hearsay? I'm sorry, but that's something that bugs me. Because I see it all the time. I've seen it against you. I've seen people,
People have been slandering me since I've been on the air, and I don't care. Have it. You know, if you want to slander me, knock yourself off. I like entertainment, personally. It's funny. It's comical. But again, I'll tell anybody. You can hear, what kind of person I am or how I am or whether or not any of the accusations have any basis to it, message me and I'll tell you. Personally, I'm the first person to say I fucked up. I posted myself fucking up on the internet all the time. And typically, I mean, a lot of people don't like me that are out there that slander because if something's going to wind up trash talking me about any specific event, there's a good chance I've told everyone already. You know, I'm ahead of my own game. You know, it's just the way I am. I don't give anyone the benefit of the doubt to.
Yeah, I mean, I had some guy that was single-handedly going around and telling people that I was A, schizophrenic, and B, literally trying to discredit me because I did not mention the locations of where the exorcisms took place. And I'm thinking, finally I came forward and I said, you know what, I don't tell the locations or the names of the people, number one, because the people asked me not to. Number two, because God forbid I said, where the exorcism took place, it was on this address, on this street. How many people would go there? And the damage that they could do. So I'm not gonna, but you see how they just take that and they run. So you know what it comes down to? We can't meet the criteria that all people have to make them believe us. We can't worry about what other people think because we're never going to please everybody. People are going to get hair across their ass no matter what we do or no matter what we don't do. If I charge, they say, don't charge. If I don't charge, people literally have taken advantage of me. It's unbelievable. I get a better response when I charge because I believe in my gifts and I think they're worth what I charge. But we cannot please everyone. We're never going to be able to do it. And I kind of take it as a compliment when somebody does that because that means I'm affecting somebody and they're talking about it. And I had to have affected them in a strong way. If they're taking the time out of their day to go posting on Facebook or on other forums about me, I'm like, I don't say anything to them. I'm just like clapping my hands in the background going, make sure you mention my fake website so they can go over there because that's just going to bring my numbers up and it's going to help me to be able to do what I want to do,
Yeah. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and that's the bottom line. But
no, I do. I really do. I got 2 kids that I need to take care of,
Yeah. Yeah, you got to make sure you're kidding. And you got to do it the best way that you can.
And I have to make sure that I have designer something. I have an 18-year-old that just, oh my God, the clothes that this child wears. You got girls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I know. They don't pick out from the cheap rack. They don't pick out from the and prices have been slashed. They typically look for the most expensive fucking thing in the store and say, that's what I want.
God forbid you ask them to take off the clearance rack. Right? How dare you ask me to take that? And they're over there on the $75 T-shirt section.
I know. It's what it is, you know, and it's all good, but you know, you got to do what you got to do, and that's the way it is. And people don't understand that. They just seem to think that, you know, everyone has the money to, you know, do whatever the hell they want, and that's not the case. I'd like to know what kind of, you know, lifestyle that these people have, and if they have that kind of money to share, please, I mean, feel free to donate it to me. I could use some. I got a, you know, a $400 electric bill I got to pay, you know, and $160 cable bill I got to pay, and car insurance is another $400 a month. You know, please send me some of the money that you have, and you know, help me out a little bit. Throw me a bone.
It's true, and I've seen people would come to me and they would say, "I really can't pay. I'm having such a difficulty." And then I would go ahead and do it, and then I'm like, they're telling me where they live, and they're showing me pictures of their house, and some people have gone to their house, and I'm like, "Excuse me, this is what you." I never said anything, but it's like you can't pay me $50 because you're having money problems. If they got some seriously nice houses, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. That's not for me. Why should I be doing that? You know, that's just. I come to that place in my life. Let the haters hate and pick on me. I can't, you know, I can't be doing it for people who just take advantage, because that's what they do. They take advantage.
Yeah, haters are always going to hate. They're always going to look at you and out of jealousy and say she's doing something that I want to do, or he's doing something that I want to do, and he's getting somewhere and I'm not. And I tell them all the time, I do, because I do have hope for these motherfuckers. I really do. I tell them, I say, look, if you took that much effort into trashing this person or trashing that person, or saying this or saying that, and put that effort into, you know, your own self, you could be just as successful.
Yeah. Yeah, but we just got to keep looking at the big prize, and that is that people who really need help. You know,
yeah.
People who really need help, and you're there to help them. And I think you've helped a lot of people. From the feedback that I've heard on you, you've helped a lot of people, and that's awesome.
I do what I can to help everybody. I don't leave anyone stranded. I don't leave anyone, you know, I'm just that kind of guy. I mean, I can't say no for some reason. I don't know why, but I can't say no, and I'll do whatever I can to ensure that people have a smile on their face. It's just the way it is.
You got a good heart. Excuse me.
It is. Why don't we cut to a commercial break, and when we come back, we will hear more.
No.
Are you there, Seth?
I'm here. I didn't want to say anything. You could go to break.
Yep, you're on break.
All right. And, yeah, that's always good. But, again, if people don't know Chris Gorder, she's a good friend of mine. I've known her for, well, I've been working with her ever since I've been on the air. I've known her ever since then. And she's a wonderful person and one of the only psychics that I recommend to anybody because, yeah, she is extremely good. And, you know, she's given me a couple readings that I can honestly say, cool, wow. You know, and it's hard to impress me with anyone. But, and, you know, for the people who know who I am an extremely hard person to impress. So, you definitely want to, you know, if you want a good psychic reading and one that, you know, is going to be fairly accurate and better than most that I know. I know a lot of different psychics out there, and a lot of them are completely bullshit. Some of them are, you know, about 20% accurate. A lot of them, though, they give cold readings, which I'm sure Chris will tell you. Cold readings is, anyone can give a cold reading, you know. You don't need a psychic for that. But, you know, she's definitely that I recommend.
Now, there are ways to tell.
What?
There are ways you can tell, yeah, because if you're asking somebody, people will come to me and they'll say, I want you to help me about this person who passed on, and he was, I'll say, wait a minute, you don't come to me and tell me who you want me to pick up on. You don't come to me and tell me what you want me to see, because then you're giving me the information, and I guess that I think people want to share, but also sometimes people get so, there are a lot of people who do con. They really do con, and it's unfortunate because there's really no reason to, because we do have abilities. But don't tell the psychic what they should already know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the whole basis of what a cold reading is while the psychic is giving you a reading, he's getting information out of you and basically just reassuring you everything you told him.
Yes, exactly. And questions, sometimes, you know, with people who ask questions, that's why I'm sort of I'm on the fence with Teresa Caputo, because I've seen her where she doesn't ask a lot of questions, and then I've seen her where she asks way too many questions. You know? Yeah. So it's like, okay, I think humanly we just, like, we ask questions because we want to make sure, but then at the same time it's very hard. It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking, especially when somebody died. I very rarely anymore do I read for somebody who has lost someone, because I don't want to risk hurting them. I get very upset if I think I'm going to hurt somebody. It's about giving them peace and closure, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And what are some tips to help people along, you know, find the best psychic that they could?
Well, I mean, for me, the people that come to me, what they like is that I get put an hourglass on the table. I don't have any overhead. If I had an office, it probably would be a little bit different. I would probably spend maybe 10 minutes over instead of a normally 20 minutes I go over. You know, you have to work with a person. If they're unhappy, you're not going to make everyone who comes to see you happy. So if you go to someone, if somebody comes to me and they're unhappy, I say, here you go. I don't expect anything, you know. You can also get people who want to rip you off. Quite honestly, I have people who come to me who want me to do readings, and then they'll try to tell me that I'm wrong or they're unhappy or whatever, and it's like, you have to be very careful that way, too.
Yeah.
Another way is if people are asking you a lot of questions. You know, I mean, real point-blank questions like, is it your father that died or your brother? Or what your brother's name was? And they lead you on, and you have to be careful of that. First of all, most of the people that I do readings for are through email. So you can't really get a lot of questions for somebody who sends you an email.
Yeah.
Or through text or chat or something like that. If somebody will say, send them a picture, or they'll just ask, like, basic questions. What's the area that you're looking for? And you can say romance or business, or you can I'll just take my cards out and I'll read them, and I'll say, here's what I feel. 9 out of 10 times it will be exactly what they were going to ask about anyway. So just have faith that your questions will be answered, because God, Spirit, however we believe, it's none of my business how people believe, but they're behind that. You know, that's when you're talking to your guides, you say, I want to go to this woman or this man. Please use them and send me messages through them. And if they're genuine, that will happen. it will happen.
Yeah.
So a big exorbitant fee, like if somebody charges, if somebody sits down with me, it's usually $105. But if it's something like $220 or $250, and I feel mine is a little bit high right now, but that's like on the lower side.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to lower it anyway. That's in person, but my personal time is valuable because I teach and I have 2 kids that I homeschool, and I do a lot of other things that I really need to make my time. I have to manage my time, micromanage it,
Yeah.
So things like that. If you can't afford $105 and somebody says I can't afford it, then if you find the person says to you, well, what can you afford? What can you afford, or what do you want to do in exchange? Most genuine psychics will say to you, look, they don't want to milk you. They'll just say, well, what can you do? But they want you to know that their time is valuable, and it's legitimately valuable. Just like if you go to a Beyonce concert, well, she sings for you. You're going to pay $120 for a ticket to hear music. How many times are you going to get your money back if you don't like the way she sang? You know what I mean? So you're talking about paying for somebody towards their ability.
Yeah.
And there's ways to find that out. Just be careful when you go to somebody, if you go to somebody for medium work, because that breaks my heart. There's a lot of people who come and see me and they've lost their children, and it boggles my mind that anyone ever in the world or anywhere else would try to take advantage of somebody who has lost a child. It just makes me sick.
I'm when it comes to kids, I probably have the weakest heart going. I'll take any kid. I support all children, and I don't think any child should be taken advantage of or, used for any kind of personal means or neglected or abused or anything like that. I got seriously a big heart when it comes to dealing with kids. And it's wrong. It's completely wrong to take advantage of any kind of situation that involves a child. Completely wrong.
Anytime. And there's a special place in hell.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is messed up. Coming down to the last 15 minutes, I'd like to discuss a little bit the difference between, what psychics can do and how they can do it, because people hear these terms all the time. Some are sensitive, some are remote viewers, some are mediums, some are, whatever the hell else there is. I think there's like 10 different types of psychic abilities out there. I'm not sure which.
I don't know.
Well, why don't we go through some of the more popular ones? Remote viewing. What exactly is involved with that?
Oh, remote viewing. Let's see. Remote viewing is a popular topic with me. I think that falls in the category of astral projection, but I'm not sure. I think that remote viewing is the practice of somebody who senses psychically impressions about something, a person who's they don't know where they are, but they I guess more or less use ESP to. I think to me it falls into like astral projection, where they kind of go out of their body to sense what's going on in another building over in Pennsylvania or New York or wherever, and the person's in Connecticut or New Jersey. And they can give information that they see about a building or a person or something that's going on at a location that they can't see, and they're completely separated from a very long way away.
Yeah.
That's fairly new. Remote viewing is fairly new. I don't think it's the same thing as clairvoyance.
Clairvoyant would be another one. I don't even know what clairvoyance is, to be honest with you.
Well, clairvoyance means clear vision. And I think that's where I fall, and I don't know, I don't care, it doesn't make a difference to me. But it's used when you have the ability to get information about an object, say if you hold something in your hand, people, a different, then of course another place, or something that's gone on, like past, present, or even sometimes future events that haven't happened or have happened, that we're not using through the 5 known senses that we have.
Yeah.
So that once, in maybe like another 100 years, we're going to be able to term clairvoyance or ESP as another sense that we do all possess. I'm pretty sure I'm defining clairvoyance right. Uh-oh.
I'm sure you're pretty, at least, if not accurate, you're pretty damn close.
I hope so.
And then we have, the basic medium, which is more than just a shirt size.
Tell me about it.
What do mediums do?
Mediums, as far as I know, the definition of a medium would be that someone who, there's my dog, he's got to speak up, somebody who sees people who have, I think it's more or less people who have passed away.
Yeah.
People who have passed away that, sorry about that, he's a little pain in the ass. He does it all the time. The psychic is somebody, sorry, I'm trying to laugh, but he won't go outside, and it's making me laugh because he's trying to be all like, he backs off and he barks. A medium is someone who sees dead people who have passed away. I think there's people who have passed away, but I don't know if a medium sees other spirits.
Who knows?
That's a good question.
It's a good question. I think we would have to look up that exact definition somehow. Somehow.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I think it is. I think that mediums are just people who see dead people. That's the way that I interpret it. And,
yeah.
I mean, as far as it being connected to psychic abilities, I think it is, no?
I would imagine it is.
I don't think all psychics see dead people, though.
I don't think they do either. I don't think they do. I think psychics can be a bit more direct with what they're looking for, personally. I don't think they all see dead people at all. I mean, for example, remote viewing doesn't necessarily see dead people. It sees visions of a particular event, I guess you can say, at a location or whatever the case is, without even leaving their office. And then obviously the basic psychic, which I don't know where that qualifies under the basic psychic. They're more things, I guess, premonitions.
They don't categorize it as being any type of science, any type of scientific. It doesn't fall into the scientific basis of anything. If I came in and said, I'm a psychic, the scientific community would say, ha ha ha, sure you are.
It's all good. It's all good.
In the mid-'80s, I was actually tested by a few people, though. They can test it,
What kind of tests did you do?
She was from was it Cornell? I don't remember. It was either Harvard. I think it was Harvard or Cornell. And I had known her through someone else. It was a woman. She passed away, and she found that I had very great abilities, and she was a very big skeptic. And she didn't offer me $1 million. She just wanted to get to the bottom of it. And so it was tests with those cards. I remember that there was tests with cards, the symbols on the cards, circles and crosses and stuff. And then I didn't do all that well with that. I got like 70-something. I don't even remember. I didn't do that well with that. But what I did do well with, I remember, was looking at pictures. She showed me like about 50 pictures and asked me, like she showed me a picture of a goldfish and showed me a picture of another, like two people, and said, which person in the picture is dead, has passed away.
Yeah.
Specific things like that. And I remember that they were like staring at me. They did it like 4 times. And I don't know how I knew. I didn't even really know that I knew, but it was just like, wow. That was where I excelled at. The other one's not so much. The other one I was kind of like, I don't know. But there are ways to get your abilities tested like that.
I should get tested, probably for being psychotic more than anything.
Well, I passed that one as well.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
There isn't. It makes life much more fun.
It's more interesting. More interesting. But how it wants to be normal anyway.
Oh, God. Who's normal? Tell me who's normal.
Who is? That's right. Everybody's all messed up.
Nobody's normal.
Really, but we are down to the last 8 minutes of our program, and I'd love to make sure all your information gets out to the public.
Okay. Okay. My website is christinecorda.net. christinecorda.net. I don't know if I said that twice. Sounded good the first time. And that's basically where all my information is. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm enjoying Twitter as of late, and that's at Kiss Me I'm Psychic. At Kiss Me I'm Psychic. Yeah, that's what it is. And on Blog Talk Radio, hopefully I'll be back in July. Got a lot of guests lined up. I don't have a show to keep it, but I have a lot of guests lined up, and that is usually Monday through Friday at some level on Blog Talk Radio, which is www.blogtalkradio.com/Kiss Me I'm Psychic. There's a whole bunch of past shows that you can listen to, different categories. Some shows I do free phone call readings. Other shows I have guests. And you're welcome to come over and look. It's a fun little show. I really enjoy it.
It is a good show. I've always loved your show.
It's a fun show. Yeah, we have fun. I could take it a little too serious, and then after a while, it's like, just lighten up, you know? I gotta just lighten up. But I'd like to get more into the conspiracy side of things, and a little bit more on, like, UFOs and the Bible and all that. There's some seriously good information about that to talk about, you know? Those are fun shows, you know?
Yeah, it is a fun show. I love your show. I always have. And like we've mentioned, it's not just paranormal related. It goes into a lot of different other kind of genres, just like in general. And a lot of times, most of the times you do have some good topics going on, and I encourage everyone to go ahead and definitely check that out, because personally, I've always loved her show, and I've always loved her.
Thank you very much. It's mutual.
Well, my show's a bit more laid back.
It's fun. It's fun. You're the only person ever. Well, I'm in the middle. Listen, guys, he was the only person ever in my life when I'm on the phone giving somebody a reading, ask what size her breasts are. I have never been so taken aback. Thankfully, she laughed, but I was like, what? I didn't know what to say. I was like, oh, my God. It was funny. I think she told you, too. That was what got me. So cute.
It's all good.
It is. There you go. One more thing. I'll go quick. Wait, what's the date? I'm going to be on the Michael Bloom show. Have you ever heard of Michael Bloom?
I have.
Yeah, he's on let me find this again. WWNN Radio 1470 in Boca Raton, Florida. Boca Raton. There you go. Boca Raton in Florida. And the Michael Bloom show, I will be on July 21st at 9:38. And that's Jay, I'm so excited because that's like the real radio, okay? I've been getting the real radio, not that internet radio is not real radio, but you know what I mean. It made me very excited.
That's fantastic.
And also on, I think Wednesday, but I haven't confirmed. They haven't gotten back to me yet. Wednesday on the X Zone radio station. That is also, I think he's on in Washington.
Yeah.
I'm psychoed.
There you go. That's fantastic. Fantastic.
It is pretty good. Very good.
And obviously, I'm going to encourage everyone again to, go to Amazon, look up Unrest of Peace, buy that book. It's available on Kindle and paperback. That's a nice little tale of some paranormal events that happened to me when I was a child. And it's also a kind of a cool romance as well at the same time. So it's got a little bit of everything for anybody, in all honesty. And it's gotten some amazing reviews, which I'm kind of thankful for. I didn't even expect that, especially only being out like a month, and all these people bought it, and 10 reviews and 10 5-star reviews. So that's kind of cool. again, next month on the 26th, Palmyra, New York, we will be doing that event. Those tickets are on sale now, so make sure you stay up to date with the posts and so forth and so on. Get those tickets, ask questions, find out, message me, message Denny and Tiff, and be sure to be prepared for that, because that's going to be a fantastic event. And September 20th is the St. Albans Sanatorium benefit, which is down in Virginia, and that's also going to be a fantastic event. A lot of amazing activity happens there, people. I have been there. I have investigated. I have investigated solo. That place is amazing. It's just a phenomenal place. So if you want to know more about it, please feel free to message me, and I'll give you all the awesome information on that particular location. And that's, again, it's going to be fantastic. And that's really all I have. Oh, tomorrow night, right here on DTM Wicked Radio between 9 and 11 is my Tuesday night shows, everyone. I have Genevieve Rossi on from New York. She's a actress and a tarot card reader as well. So that's going to be an interesting show. I ain't going to lie. And that's all I have. So until tomorrow night, everyone, I'm out. Oh, if you want to listen to me or check me out, you can always find me on Facebook. Just look up Jason Stanton. I've also have a Ghost Chat Radio fan page on Facebook. You can go ahead and like that. That's always good. And I'm on Twitter and a bunch of other social networking sites. I can't even remember, to be honest with you. And also check out the DTM Wicked Radio fan page as well. And, definitely like that, because that's always a plus. You can stay up to date on a lot of the other shows that are right here on the Steph Network. And a lot of them are good shows. And that's officially all I have now. So, until tomorrow night, everyone, I will check you out later.